Thanks for watching. My name is Rachel. Today I am going to teach a how to draw. What I'm going to do here is demo a bunch of stuff as I speak. Sit here, doodle while I talk, and explain some of my thought process on how I draw. So I hope this is informative, and I hope you guys get something out of it. Let's get into it. So the point of learning what I'm calling here, how to draw from life, is not to draw like I do, but just to understand how to give your drawings some more energy. We don't want any dead drawings, like this is super scribbly, but it's got so much action to it. What's going on here? Some kind of cool pose kind of going on, and I could go over this with a darker marker. And yeah, you gotta know your anatomy, and that's not what I'm here to teach today. What I'm trying to teach is how to draw with intent, how to draw with purpose, how to draw with some energy. And so, what is dead drawing, and what do I mean when I'm talking about a dead drawing? It's something that I think humans, we do pretty naturally, is like all the high school kids will draw like this. You got a head, I shouldn't say all of them, you got like a neck, and you got the shoulders, and you got the torso, maybe a belly button in there, maybe he's got pants on, he's got an arm over here with his hand. It's a really strange looking hand. I messed it up. My beautiful. Excuse my hands. I'm not here to teach hands either. But we'll have something kind of like, it's flat. And the way I'm drawing it, I'm going down the sides. This is what I see every beginner artist do. I'm going down the sides of the thing, and I'm just trying to outline it as I go. And this doesn't work. This is not a good way to draw. Even if you see someone and it kind of looks like they're drawing just the outline, but it's turning out good, it's because they're adding something else to it. If you're drawing like that, this is what I'm trying to kill. I'm trying to get you from here to here. And I'm trying to get you to understand, this, they're both just standing, and they could put a shirt on this guy too, maybe. And even the way I'm drawing the shirt, I'm going around the form, down it, figuring out where the action is. And that's what I'm really trying to focus on. So, let me show you some more examples of that. Alright, let's see. Let's check out this pink marker. I just got these markers yesterday. Alright, so drawing with life. So, instead of thinking, I'm just thinking head, shoulders, torso. I'm going back to that bad drawing again. Leg, foot, arm, hand, whatever, ear. Instead of thinking that, what's the action? Maybe they're jumping. Maybe they're leaping forward. This is stretching out this way. And this is pinching back here. Maybe this is pulling back here. Maybe this leg's kind of going this way. And then I have no idea what this person's doing. This is a wild pose. What are they doing? They're doing something. They're running. Look at that. Sometimes you don't know. Learn to ask questions as you draw. What are they doing? What is this? How does this go here? Learn to do that instead of head, neck. Like, learn to... So my thought process here is it's very shallow, you know? It's very shallow. All I'm doing is I'm seeing the symbols. I'm not looking at the action. And I think that action, if you can understand how to add some of this to your art, your drawings will start to sing. So, let's keep going. Maybe I should wet this. Maybe that would make it faster? No, that would probably mess it up. Alright. So, what are we doing when we're just drawing the parts? We draw an eye with the eyelashes and the iris and the pupil. Maybe you have like the middle thing. You start getting the wrinkles around it or whatever kind of detail. We have a cat. You know, I say that word cat. A lot of us, it's a symbol that'll pop up in our head. And it probably looks something like this, where it'll be an outline. Some people apparently don't see anything in their head when you say these words. But even that, someone with zero training, if you ask them to draw a cat, maybe they would do something where it's just the blob. Because cats can kind of look like that too, with just the tail sticking out. That's almost like a little better. It's a little more abstract. I kind of like that one more. But still, it could be better. And what's another one? I had on here. Oh yeah, tree. That's another common one you see. You know, a tree. I see a symbol of the sun. We all know this symbol. And so when I'm talking about symbols, I'm talking about breaking out of this kind of thinking, you know, how a child might draw. Because that's how we learn. That's how the human mind works. We want to see symbols. Because the way our eyes work and our visual cortex is you're taking in so much information that you have to learn to filter it so that you're able to identify what you're looking at in a day-to-day world. And so, if you were to stop and closely observe every single little thing in your environment all the time, you would never have time to eat. You wouldn't be able to you wouldn't even figure out where the food is because you're too busy looking at the abstraction of, you know, what is the color of an apple with the shine on it, and what are, you know, what's what kind of like texture is going on, and how is that red captured with the light around it? How much can I do with a dry erase marker? That's a good question. But instead of just, you know, you see an apple, there's a symbol of an apple, you pick it up and you eat it, you know? You don't need to know anything else other than it's red and it's an apple, and we know those things, so we know. We all have these common ideas. But when you're learning how to draw, you have to learn how to break out of this. You have to learn how to observe the world a little more deeply than that. And these symbols can be useful, like when you get into designing stuff, maybe you want to bring some of those symbols back in. But if you really want to take your drawings up a notch, you gotta break out of that. And so, go back to the cat. What is the cat doing? Even if it's just sleeping, start a long mark. The direction of the head is just a ball with these little ears on top. And I'm feeling my way around. Maybe the tail kind of curls around like that. And the whiskers kind of droop down like that. And if I sit here, maybe I'll go and he's sleeping. Make it cute, you know? It's gotta be cute. It's a kiki. Here, here. But what are the ears doing? I said that, but it's like what they're falling forward. He's slumped down. He's rounded. He's relaxed. This is kind of curled up. I want to curl it up even more. His tail and his hind leg is in there somewhere. Yeah, and that's a way more interesting cat drawing than, you know, this guy. There's room for that too, but I'm going for something more interesting when I'm talking about drawing with life from life, learning to observe what you're looking at. This is what I mean by that, is looking at the action and the energy past the symbol. And so that tree, what is that tree? Even a tree, it's not, you know, actively moving in front of you, but you can add some life to that. There's this principle that's really obvious in a tree. It's called the principle of growth. And it means that anything that is organic starts at a trunk and gets smaller and more complex as it goes out. And so with the human body, it's our torso, and then our arms and legs, and then our fingers and toes. With the tree, it's the trunk, and it goes underground too, you know, at the roots. The bigger roots going into smaller roots, going into smaller roots. And so you can take that into consideration while you're drawing. I'll leave that there. But also, when I'm looking at this tree, how am I looking at it? I can make the tree, you know, I can add some personality to the tree. Let's get this guy out. Is it drooping down? Like, I'm using these big, simple shapes, but I'm being thoughtful about it. I'm considering the action. I think I'll put one like that. And as it, maybe it's got like a little bit of like this twistiness to it. Like that's so much more interesting than, you know? Like this is like a really cool, interesting shape. Maybe it's a strong, you know, stable tree. And so you'll use these kind of ideas as you're drawing. Strong, sturdy, stout. Maybe it's really short like that. You're kind of looking under it a little bit. Even the way you draw the grass. Instead of grass, you know, make it more interesting. Clump it together. How is the wind maybe affecting it? And kind of feel your way through the drawing that way. You learn to draw like that, drawing gets a lot more fun. Alright. And I think actually here, just to show these principles even further and how they apply to any tool you use for drawing. And drawing, you learn how to draw, you can learn to do a lot of other stuff. So you learn how to draw, you're learning how to think, you're learning how to design. You get better at sculpture, you get better, whatever you need to just create, design. You know, you want to get into movies, photography, any kind of entertainment or art or craft. So, still one more time. So, I love charcoal. I'm going to try and draw one of these bad drawings where I go with the almond eyes that we all do, and the eyelashes. I'm sure I had some drawings like this in high school. That nose, that godforsaken nose with the nostrils. something, and then maybe there's some ears, and let's make the hair stringy and weird. Neck that doesn't attach to anything. Symbols. Useful, and it's how we get around the world, and it's how, you know, we're able to survive, is that we can identify and simplify things so much. But you want to get good at drawing. Think about the ball of the head. Think about, where's the center line? Where's the eye line? Kind of goes around the ball like that, and then flatten out side, and you can bring this down, and everything flows together. Everything's meant to be there. The way I'm thinking when I'm drawing this is a lot more enjoyable and satisfying than this. And there's some people that, there's a ball here, little tangent. Let me get the face in here a little bit more before I get on the tangent. Yeah, the nose might, I put too high. I always put it too high. And then the mouth might be somewhere around there. The hair can, you know, flow with the drawing. This is way more appealing. Way more interesting to look at. I think, at least. Way more decisions that are being made. And the little tangent I was going to go on before, some people can get really good at drawing like this. You can sit there and, let's see, there's a lamp in front of me here. I could sit here and spend hours on just outlining every little detail. I think this is what photorealism kind of is. Like, you can get up to photorealistic drawing this way, because all you're doing is you're copying what you're seeing, which is useful. But if you want to get good at drawing out of your imagination, you want to learn how to express yourself through drawing, you want to, you know, do something that maybe the machine can't, you design it. And so I kind of see like a cylindrical shape. Maybe, I'm not even looking at the lamp anymore. I don't need it. And what is it that I like about this lamp? That's the other thing. I like the lighting. And so I'm gonna find a way to accentuate that a little bit more in my drawing. So, just another example. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Careful with this drawing board. This is my first time running through this. I got my notebook next to me to make sure I don't go too off track. So, what am I doing? How am I doing this stuff? It still doesn't make sense. I'm just making up things out of my head, and they seem to work for some reason. Maybe there's like a kind of someone like sitting on a wall right here. There's their ear, back of their head. Like, how did I just come? That's a funny little butt. How did I just come up with that? And I can do the same thing I was doing with those dry erase markers, where I start really light. I can use it all with one tool here. I don't have to switch colors. And I can just slowly start getting smaller and smaller as I work. You can get some cool drawings that way, but before I get there, before I get quite that far, can't stop now. What's going through my head? The two most foundational ideas that I have come to when it comes to drawing, well, there's three. One at the the one at the pinnacle, the one at the top. Mark making. Learn how to make interesting marks. Easy enough. Just take a page, make a mess, and how dark can you get? What kind of tools do you have? What happens if you smudge it? What happens if you do that? You start seeing like cool ideas, cool designs, push and pull. Just take a page and just go wild with that. So that's number one. Foundation when it comes to drawing is mark making. Number one. It's supposed to be a number thing. Whatever. Alright. And then below that, we got two fundamentals that I break everything I do down into. Form and flow. Oh, sorry. Little dyslexic. Form and flow. And so what do I mean when I say these things? Flow. I'll start with flow. Flow is the more abstract idea. And this one's the more solid structural idea. And so I'm talking about flow. How do the lines come together? How do they do that? Like a school of fish, almost. When I'm going down my drawing, every mark informs where the next mark is going to go. And even if I make a mistake, I start out light and I kind of whittle down from there. Whatever kind of shape I'm going for, like a box. And so when I'm talking about form, I'm talking about spheres, I'm talking about boxes, I'm talking about cylinders. Essentially everything in existence can be broken down into these three forms. There's some other ones you can add on top. This little potato chip idea is one I like to practice too, because if you can understand the way a potato chip folds, you can understand a lot of stuff. That can be a flower petal, that can be drapery, that could be hair, just anything thin. You can kind of understand the way those two planes kind of curve in and out of each other. If you can get that, you can understand a lot. But these three are the prime ones. So if you have solid form and you figure out how to get things to flow together, you have a solid drawing. You have a drawing with expression that is informed. So what am I talking about when I say informed? The information you put in your head is what you will get out. When you're learning how to draw, look, they're like, maybe it's like a speedboat. What are those things called? People are like hanging on the back of them. I don't know, it's like the time of year for it. What was I about to say? I got lost there. I got lost in this guy being pulled behind a boat. Form, flow, drawing with life and expression. Yeah, if you can understand how to combine these two things together, your drawings will... Oh yeah, that's what it was. So going into information that informs your drawing. And so what kind of information is informing my drawing? Well, I really like anatomy, so I understand the deltoid goes up here. There's like the bicep brachialis with the tricep, the long head underneath, I think, and then that's the ulna that goes down to the pinky. Like I understand all these little things. When I'm, someone, I wish I knew more of the names for like flower anatomy. That's my next project I'm getting into. Is been drawing a lot of plants, and the more I learn about the different parts of how flowers form, the better my drawings of flowers are gonna get. That's because I'll understand what to bring forward, what I can leave out, what things actually catch the eye and make it interesting. I'm doing the same thing with people here. You can do it with animals. So whatever it is that you're into, figure it out and draw a lot of it. And that'll inform your drawings, so you'll get better and better. And if you learn how to put the flow into it, it makes it a lot more fun. So, put this one down. So, just going back to this sort of idea. Design it. Feel it. There's a rhythm to it. And the rhythm will make your drawing look like it sings. And that's what I think something I try to strive for in my drawings. I think that's really interesting. I think it's something that the AI can't do. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any evidence that it's happened yet. But I think it's something that makes us human is our experiences and how we decide to make these marks. And so the more mindfulness you can bring into it and the more informed your drawings will be, I think the more relevant of an artist you're going to be, the more human it's going to feel, is what I'm trying to say. And that's something I'm going for with my class here, how to draw from life with life. So I'm thinking about how lines work. So a line is like something I like to do to teach. Oh. Almost had something catastrophic happen there. Let's go from the very base of everything. What is a line? And people will be like, that's a line. That's a line. That's a line. And we can identify it. The way I like to say it is a line is moving. Because if it's not moving, it's just a dot. And so every single mark you make, what is it swooping? Is it climbing? Maybe it's going up. Maybe it's just standing, leaning a little bit. Maybe it's straight. Even that gives kind of a different feeling than lines that kind of do this sort of thing. Is it, kind of waving like that? Try to explain your lines using ing words, because that means it's moving. So maybe it's just like, moving that way or pulling that way. You don't have to be, like, I use this a lot. So, spiraling. And thinking that way, when I'm drawing more complicated things, I'm taking this idea and just expanding it further. And so instead of just a single line, it's a bunch of lines that are kind of spiraling around whatever's going on with this face. And I'm catching other lines as I'm going down, and everything flows together. And even if it's not the next Michelangelo, the best thing you've ever seen in your life, you're going to see I had fun making it, and that'll come through.